Well, hello. Hello there. Good morning. It's Spirit Moves Radio here. Aradia talking at you. I've got some interesting things to share with you today along the lines of the Ark of the Covenant and the Ark of Gabriel, which is something we started last week. Anyhow, first I want to share with you about a vision that was shown to me some years ago. And in this vision, this is my spirit guide showed this to me. They showed me a planet, and it was like, planet in the stars, and I saw the planet. And the planet was being destroyed from the inside out. And it literally started to break apart from the inside. Explosions coming from the inside of the planet, and the mantle falling apart and crumbling away until there was nothing left but the core. And the vision was showing me that this could happen to our planet. And then some years later, doing some research, I discovered that the planet Mercury was nothing but its core, that it did not have a mantle. And it made me think of that vision, that perhaps that this had happened to the planet Mercury. But let's move along here. In some of the research I've been doing on the Ark of the Covenant and the Ark of Gabriel, we mentioned that that the Ark of Gabriel had been taken down to Antarctica, and that it has been activated. We've seen the beams of light coming from the coast of Princess Martha coming out Antarctica, and the splitting of the ocean, and we're seeing all these sinkholes and other things that are going on in the world, and I'm trying to draw some correlations here. So last spring 2017, I went to England and was visiting some sacred sites. And one of the places I went to was the Glastonbury Tor. And this was the place where the island of Avalon was said to be. And this is also the place where the monks, early monks, drained away the swamp and the waters, creating not an island but now an actual piece of land. I'm not sure how they drained the water away, but somehow they did it. And so that's where they built the first church of Jesus and the first church of Mary Magdalene. And this is where Joseph of Aramethea was said to have brought a staff, which they said was hazelnut, where he's planted the staff into the ground and it sprouted into a tree. Okay, so let me just read you here something about the Ark. And here we are. The Ark was an archive for sacred items that would remind the Israelites of the covenant or agreement that God had made with them at Mount Sinai. It played a key role in the Atonement Day. Contents. The stone tablets inscribed with the 10 Commandments were the first items placed in the Ark. That's from Exodus 40:20. A golden jar of manna and, quote, Aaron's rod that budded were added later. Evidently, the jar and rod were removed at some point because they were not in the Ark when it was moved into the temple. So the Aaron's rod was Hebrews 9:4 and Exodus 16:33 and 34 and Numbers 17:10. So this is definitely indicative that the staff or rod that Joseph of Arimathea was the same rod that was Aaron's, indicating that it had been removed and had been placed somewhere, which later went to the Nazarenes that left Israel with Jesus and Mary and the disciples when they went to Gaul, south of France, and then further on to England, indicating that not only did they have the staff, but they had the golden jar of manna and potentially the ark itself later. We know that they couldn't touch the ark. The poles were made of acacia wood poles, and they remained attached to the ark at times, so the Levites never had to touch the ark. The ark was associated with God's presence. For example, the cloud that appeared over the ark and the most holy and at Israelite encampments was a sign of Jehovah's presence and blessing. So if you're talking about a device that creates energy, you're definitely going to see an aura. And oftentimes, when you have magnetic frequencies moving at high speed, we're talking about spinning magnetic frequencies moving at high speeds, what is created? Ozone. That is what is created. And it definitely has a cloud-like appearance. Then we go to the mercy seat, or the cover of the ark was called a propitiatory cover. Sorry, I'm dyslexic and sometimes words are hard for me. And refers to the special function of the cover on the Day of Atonement, when the high priest of Israel would spatter the blood of sacrificed animals toward and before the cover. These actions of the high priest made the propitiation for or covered sins in behalf of himself and his house and in behalf of the entire congregation of Israel. And this is Leviticus 16:14 to 17. Now here I am reminded of the ancient Viking spiritual thing that they did every year, where they had a blood sacrifice. Everybody had to do some kind of blood sacrifice or blood debt, which indicates that there was some kind of a covenant between them and their gods, that some kind of blood had to be spilled or offered in order to not have to spill other people's blood. And that was the whole purpose of it, that there was some kind of offering that needed to be given, and it had to be blood, which of course was changed when Jesus gave up his life for that, his sacrifice, which is based on a new covenant. The Bible thus foretold a time when the Ark of the Covenant would be no more, yet God's people would not miss it. So we know that just because you had the ark didn't mean that you were guaranteed success. For example, the Israelites had the ark in their camp when battling the city of Ai, yet they suffered defeat because of one Israelite's unfaithfulness. Joshua 7:1-6. So what this is saying is that only the pure of heart, the totally pure people, would be able to utilize this type of device. There are other examples here, which we won't get into. The history of the ark is apparently it was made in BCE 1513, made by Bezaleel and his assistants using materials contributed by the Israelites. Exodus 25:1. And in BCE 1512, inaugurated by Moses along with the tabernacle and priesthood. Exodus 41-3, 9, and 21. And in 1512 BCE, moved to various locations. Joshua 18:1, Judges 20:26, Samuel 1:24, etc. And then after There's nothing written about it till after 1070 BCE, when it was brought to Jerusalem by King David, and this is in Samuel 6:12. Then it was moved into Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, Kings 8:1 and 6. Apparently it was removed from the temple, but it was not mentioned in inventories of articles taken to Babylon when the temple was destroyed in 607 BCE, or of these articles later returned to Jerusalem in 2 Kings 25:13 to 17, and in Ezra 1:7 and 11 to 11. And it was returned to King Solomon's temple in 642. So it was moved into the temple in 1026 BCE, returned to the temple by King Josiah in 2 Chronicles 35:3, and then it was removed by the Babylonians and was declared to be missing by Roman General Pompey when he conquered Jerusalem and inspected the most holy of the temple. Now, the fact that it was removed means that it had to have gone somewhere. Now, we know because of the rod, the appearance of the rod, that some of the things within it were given to the Nazarenes, or the early Essenes, known also as the Coptic. And these people also were Egyptian, they were Mongolian. There are many areas that the Coptic religion spread to. So what I am suggesting here is that the Ark was removed for a period of time and was hidden for a period of time, and it showed up at the temple and was taken again. Then later we find evidence in coming out of Oak Island, where it was shown that the natives have a legend that the island of Oak Island was considered a sacred and special island, and that the natives said that if you went there and stepped on the ground, that you would get burned, which is definitely a type of radiation. Now, the Israelites used some kind of covering. Only the priests could go in, and they had to have special covering on their bodies, which is probably some kind of natural silk or wool, which would cover your body. So we're suggesting here that the Ark did come to what they called the New Jerusalem, and that would be the New World, and that it there is also evidence that it went to the Grand Canyon, which was then taken by no less the it's escaping me. Why is it escaping me? The group of people that are hiding everything on the world, and it will come to me. Smithsonian. Thank you, Smithsonian. The Smithsonian came saying to the Grand Canyon, saying that there was a plane crash and that they were coming in to take refuse from it. But I've just heard evidence from the Leak Project that it was in fact the Ark of Covenant. So it stands to reason that the Smithsonian has it, and the Ark of Gabriel is now being used in Antarctica. So that's about it for today. I wanted to share some of my insights and some of those things. You guys have a great day, and we will see you again another day.